Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 75 of Nickel O's World Podcast. Welcome, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for checking me out. And if you're a new viewer, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 75 of Nickel O's World Podcast. Welcome, welcome. If you are a new viewer, thank you so much for checking me out. And if you are just drew a blank. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 75 of Nickel O's World Podcast. Welcome, welcome. If you are a new viewer, thank you so much for checking me out, and I hope you come back another week to see me. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much, as always, for checking me out. Welcome, welcome. Today is Sunday, April 30th, 2017. So yeah, it's been about 2 weeks since I talked to you guys. How are you doing? I hope good. I hope you're doing good. If, as you can see, I am in a different spot today. Upstairs where I was normally recording for about a year. I feel like I'm like this with you guys, like right up against you, like. I gotta figure out how to adjust. I'm not recording on my laptop. I'm recording on my iPad. So everything feels a bit strange. Welcome, welcome. If you're new and you're wondering where I am, I live in northeastern Pennsylvania. In case you're wondering, like, why does that chick have a sweater on? It is, like, ungoshly hot. Well, where I am today in northeastern Pennsylvania, it's on the cool side, so I have a sweater on. So yeah, welcome, welcome. And also grab your favorite beverage of choice. Today I am sipping on some tea. It's a new tea by Lipton. Yeah, Lipton. Don't remember the name of it. But it has a colorful box. And so is my mug, very colorful. Alrighty, I'm digressing. Alright, how do you guys like the new intro song that I have? Do you guys like it? I can't find the one that I used to use, No Matching Socks. So that's the new intro song that I'm giving a try. Let me know what you guys think. And as you can tell, I really didn't change the logo. Just the font. I'm still looking for a new logo. And I don't know why it looks like I got head-butted right there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it looks that way. And it's not my makeup. I don't know. I think because I must have been scratching myself. I was itchy earlier, and so, yeah. Anyways, just in case you're wondering why I have that here, I was like, earlier, I was itchy. Anyways. You thought I never podcasted away. I'm digressing. Alright. As most of you have seen, I have not put the last video or this video on iTunes. I am still debating whether I want to use Podcast Garden and upload to iTunes, or if I'll just stick with putting it on YouTube. You guys let me know how you watch me, and let me know how you listen to the podcast. If a lot of you use iTunes, I will also go back to uploading on iTunes. Alright, we have several things going on in our group lately. And some of those are some alongs. They're not just knit-alongs, they're alongs. One of them is our April finished object thread. That is open until midnight tonight. So if you guys are watching this, you're probably going to be watching it on Monday. So if you're watching it if this is tomorrow, then May's finished object thread will be open. So we have so if you're watching me tomorrow, April's finished object thread is closed, and May's finished object thread is open. if you're watching me today on Sunday, April 30th, April's finished object thread is still open. Are you confused yet? I know I sure probably confused myself for a whole second. Alright, another along we have going is Finish Your Whips Cow Cow. I don't know if you're like me, but I have a unfinished object bin. There, I said it. I have an unfinished object bin. Yeah. So I thought it would be fun to start a Finish Your Whips Cow Cow. Knitting, crocheting, spinning, if you have a lot of spinning that you want to get done. Yeah, I just thought it would be something fun. As you can see, I'm reading it from my iPhone to make sure I'm giving you all the correct information because I did not put it on my show notes. I should have. Alright, and my rules are easy peasy. My Finish Your Whips Cow Cow, I don't care when you start it, your knitting, your crocheting, or your spinning project. I don't care when you started it. You could have started it 10, 20 years ago. I don't care. As long as you finish it by December 31st of 2017, you can post photos of your progress as well as finished objects. Chatter is welcome. And you can dip in other groups as long as it's okay with their rules and guidelines. I don't care if you dip in other groups as long as it's okay with their rules and guidelines. Yeah, I just thought it would be fun to do just to get our whips off. And what's your oldest project you have going in your unfinished object bin? Is there, like, I don't count blankets as oldest projects because they're like an ongoing, never-ending thing. Because blankets take time. So I don't really count blankets as languishing whip. Alright. Our next, I'm sure some of you could argue that with me, but we have our blanket along going on, and this one has no finishing time that you have to do it. It's just something I thought that would be fun to do to encourage us to get our blankets done and start another blanket. Yeah. I opened the thread back on January 9th of 2015, which is 2 years ago. And it runs continual. Unless you guys are tired of it, then I will lock and close the thread. The rules are simple. I don't care when you started the blanket, as long as you finish it and post pictures. It can be knit or crochet. It can be a lapgan, an afghan, a blanket, a baby blanket, a dog blanket. Post photos of your progress. Chatter is welcome. It can be I don't care, any type of blanket. It just to encourage us to get our blankets done. I thought it would be fun. And our next along is our spring cow cow. I'm sorry for sniffing my nose. Runny nose. I'm sorry. Alright, our spring cow cow. It's knit or crochet. Rules are easy peasy. It runs from March the 21st of this year to June 21st of 2017. You can sell it to me as a spring tote, a market bag, a reusable bag. You can sell a pair of socks to me as something springy. Anything that you could think would be spring to me, sell it. Even spinning. Even rainbow colored yarn, bright colors, sell it to me as spring. And of course you can dip in other groups. And another one we have going, because I do like to make dishcloths or face cloths. And that is our dishcloth along. It's It doesn't have no end date. It also is in conjunction with our blanket along. You can make blanket squares, dishcloths, and post pictures. I know there are some people that do blanket squares that are from dishcloth patterns. So you can post that in our dishcloth along, which I have a finished object for. And I think that is it. Yes, it is it for all our alongs. How about that? And I am thinking for our spring cow, I will add a prize to it. I will go dig in our prize bin and see what I pull out. Alright. Finished objects. I have two finished objects. And you guys are going to be very surprised at what I have. Alright, the first one is a dishcloth, spa day. It's called Spa Day face cloth. I didn't make it real big. It was coming out big. This is the back. This is the front. I'll hold it up so you guys can see it. I am anxious to try it. It took me a day to do it. I didn't really rush. Now, it is bigger. It is a free pattern on here. Let me see if I can get it up for you guys. It's also on my project page. If you're ever wondering, if you see a project of mine that you like and you want more information, feel free to check out my project page because I have it posted on there. Some of them I may not have a picture for, but you can click on it. Spa Day face cloth. Here we go. I didn't add this picture yet. I wanted to show you guys. It is a free Ravelry pattern. It is knit, and it is by Anne Mancine, M-A-N-C-I-N-E. You guys can see that. And again, it is a night. I plan on I wanted to wait to use it before I showed you guys. I know my ends aren't woven in. It's just a face cloth, so it doesn't matter. But oh, you guys can see the colors of my yarns better up here. Much better light. And that's the back. Alright. Now, you guys are going to be so surprised. This is also going into my enhancement. What I've got, I finally bought sock blockers, y'all. Finally got sock blockers. After years of using metal hangers, I decided to finally buy sock blockers. But I am keeping my metal hangers, sock blocker thingies, because you never know. What if I finish 2 pairs of socks at the same time? Wouldn't that be a hoot? Alright. And I can't believe I made these bigger than what I did. I didn't think I made them that big. Alright, you guys. I finished Hermione's Everyday Socks. Ah! Yes, I finally finished, after about a year or more, my Hermione's Everyday Socks. As you guys can see, this is where I was when you guys last saw it, and I finished it. Sorry about that. Grandma had to ask me a question. But yeah. Which means I had to run downstairs. So anyhow, here's where I was the last time, and I finished it. This one I finished a while back. Last year sometime. In case you're wondering what the pattern looks like, and sorry, I am quite popular right now. Sorry, I had to take that phone call. But yeah, these are my socks. They are, I use 64 stitches. I always go for a 64 for my foot. And I don't know why, but they're big. Here, like, I have a size 7, my foot's a 7.5. And normally, I don't know if my gauge has loosened since I had my carpal tunnel surgery, or if it's actually big. But either way, it allows for shrinkage of the socks if somebody grabs a hold of them and sticks them in the washer and dryer on me and they shrink. But yeah, that's like, and my foot's teeny tiny. I have a 7.5 foot. But that's okay. That just allows for some extra room. The heel, I didn't do the heel that goes with the Hermione's Everyday socks. I used the Fish Lips Kiss heel. This is, in case you're wondering what the pattern is, it is Hermione's, obviously I said it, Hermione's Everyday Socks by Erica Luder. It is a free pattern. And you guys can tell I have this pattern a while. I do not remember when I started these. It's about a good year that I've had them on my needles. But here is what the pattern looks like. As you can see, I didn't do the heel gusset thing. I did the Fish Lips Kiss pattern, which is $1 by the Socks Therapist. Almost every pair of socks that I've ever made, I've used the Fish Lips Kiss heel. If you're wondering what yarn I used, this is Lion Brand Sockies sock yarn. One skein makes a pair of socks. And for the bind off, I used Jenny's Surprisingly Stretchy Bind Off, which I really like very well. She was a genius for coming up with that, but yeah. That's these. The colorway is called Cotton Candy. I didn't come up with the colorway, but that's the colorway name they gave it. It was Cotton Candy. It's a cuff down sock. I had to Kitchener. And no criticizing my Kitchener stitching now. In case you don't know it, Kitchenering and I are not friends. I don't know why. I have issues with Kitchener stitch. I don't know why. It's not a hard stitch. It's very similar to mattress stitching or whip stitch. But that's my one on that foot. And I think this one on this foot came out a lot better. I don't mind it. It's not my favorite way to make socks. I'd rather do toe up socks. Although cuff down is a lot fun too. I did not surprisingly use the entire skein of my Lion Brand Socky sock yarn. It says one skein makes a pair. This is how much I have left. It's about an ounce. Hang on, let me turn a light on here for you guys. Better lighting. It's kind of dreary out here today, but yeah. Maybe not lighting. You're not getting good. There we go. I weighed it on my scale. It's an ounce. I have an ounce of this left. Part of it is going to go for a barn raising quilt blanket. The barn raising blankets, part of that's going to go for that. I was thinking of a sockhead hat, but I didn't think I'd have enough for a sockhead hat. So part of this will go for a barn raising quilt. And I don't know what I'll use the other part for. Maybe I'll keep it towards another sock blanket. But I really like this yarn. And I'm going to be talking more about this. You'll see this again in a question that somebody asked me. These were not washed and blocked. Now that you guys seen them, they can be washed and blocked. Alright, those are my only two finished objects. Let's move into what I'm working on. Alright, what am I working on? I am working in my Tea Time Mr. Bear a pair of plain vanilla socks, which I dubbed Footloose. And this is what they look like. This yarn the yarn's by Mary Maxim. It's called Footloose. And it actually reminds me of Opal yarn, the way it stripes by itself. If you guys see, this is where my Dicky Doo is. That's where you guys seen it the last time. And this is where I'm at now. I even have a heel put in. Oh. And I did a new heel. Uh-oh, and I'm losing stitches off my needles. And if you're wondering, I was talking with our mediator in the group about I always mention when I do magic loop about how the cable sticks out the back and it's long and I get yarn in it. She's like, did you ever try 9-inch circular needles to knit socks on? And I'm like, well, no, I didn't. So I decided to go online and buy a pair. I bought these through Louette, or Louette, L-O-U-T-E, I think it's called Louette. And they are square needles. They are 9-inch circular needle. And I think if I get it right, you guys can kind of see it. These are, I forget the name of them. They begin with a K. I can't even see to read what it says. And they are a US 1 2.25, I believe. I will let you guys know in the next podcast. I think maybe I looked at it wrong, but it's tiny print. The heel I'm using is called a German short row heel. And this one had no wraps in it at all, or no wrap and turns. I decided I was going to put a Fish Lips Kiss heel in, but I'm always doing Fish Lips Kiss heel. Nicole, you need to try another heel. If you ever watched the Bakery Bears podcast, they have, it's kind of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, their knitting quiz thing, and if they lose, they have to do a challenge. Well, I purloined from there and decided I need to challenge myself when it comes to knitting and step out of my comfort zone. And one of those comfort zone is sock heels. I am not a heel flap gusset gal. I've done socks like that and I just don't care for it. That's why I fell in love with Fish Lips Kiss heel. I've done, is it Eye of Partridge heel? I've done that one. I like that one. I seen this German short row heel and I was a little iffy on it, but I bit the bullet. And I'm like, suck it up, Nicole. Challenge yourself. Step out of your comfort zone. So that's what I did. I did the German short row heel. It's not perfect for my first heel. As you guys can see, it's, I have a little wonkiness, but that's okay. That's what makes these socks unique. If you're wondering why I have a stitch marker, it's just so that I know I am at the beginning of my round. These, I did put them on a sock blocker. These are 64 stitches as well. And they are big on the stitch blockers. These guys will be on my needles. The same sock will be on my needles in June for an entire year now. And I have a good reason. My carpal tunnel got extremely bad. And last year around this time, I wasn't knitting very much. And if you're wondering, obviously they're toe up. I did, what's the cast on? Magic Loop, I believe it's called. or Turkish cast on. I don't think I did Turkish cast on. This has to be magic loop. Yes, magic loop. But yeah. And this is how much of the cake I have left. I have another cake downstairs. But this is what it looks like. I don't know. I'm thinking that this whole cake will make a pair of socks. I'm not sure. But we will find out. This yarn actually came in Mary Maxim's Knit Club of the Month, and this was in their Knit Club of the Month last year. It was to make a hat out of, and I don't like the hat pattern, so I kept the yarn aside, and I'm making a pair of socks out of it. So yeah, just a plain vanilla sock, German short row heel, on my little tiny needles. And you know what? These are like magical needles, because I'm just sitting there. These are like zoom, zoom, zoops. And I'm already here. If you're wondering how I did the heel, I had to switch over to my carbons and put half the stitches on my carbons. And did it that way. Which my carbons gave up the ghost and the cable broke on them finally. I am actually kind of sad. I'll just buy new carbons. But I'm keeping these carbons that broke. They're fixed circular. I'll show you guys. I ripped that off there. Did that just come off on its own? My zipper pull came off. Oh, there we go. It just came off on its own. They are in here. I'm pretty sure they have a lifetime warranty, but I'm not worried. I bought these ages ago, years ago, and they broke once before, and I repaired them myself, and they broke again, as you guys can see. So I'm just going to keep them and order another pair of carbons. But hang on to these as a spare. I mean, I'm saddened by it, but, you know, for fixed circs that are good needles, they lasted me a long time. I ordered them, if you're wondering, off Webs a few years ago. Alright, my next project, hang on, something fell out of my bag. When I come upstairs to make a podcast, I use a bag to bring everything up. My next one is, funny, this is my knitting challenge to myself. I challenge myself to knit a pair of socks at one time on 2 circular needles. I know, Nicole, what's going on? You said you weren't going to cast on anything until you got things off the needles. Well, I kind of fell down the rabbit hole and cast something on. I am using for the very first time ever some Patton's Croy sock yarn. And it's stripes. And it is in meadow stripes. And this is the ball band information in case you're wondering. In case you would be so inclined to be interested. I've never knit with Patton Croy sock yarn before, ever. Where are they? They're hiding in here. Here they are. As I said, they're being knit on 2 circs at one time. I'm not very far with them. I have had to rip these out already and restart them. And they really are a challenge for me. They've really made me have to concentrate because I've never knit with 2 circs at one time before. Yeah. I don't know if it'll fit on here, but you guys can kind of see. Here's the one. This is Magic Loop cast on. And here's the other. As you can tell, they're kind of almost matchy-matchy. But they don't have to, obviously, for me, totally be matchy-matchy. I'm just going to do a plain vanilla sock with these socks. I was going to put a pattern on them, but the stripes would swallow it up. I am doing a little different with these socks than my other socks that I'm doing. I actually went down to 56 stitches instead of 64. Every socks I've have been 64 stitches. These are 56, so we'll see. You know, maybe my gauge has changed since my carpal tunnel surgery. I don't know. Or maybe I just like my socks big. I don't know. But yeah, this is what the skeins look like. Oh, you guys see this good on here, up here. Yeah. The yarn is thicker than Lion Brand yarn. I will say that. If you follow me on Instagram, which you can follow me under Nikki18229, which you can find me everywhere on the interwebs as Nikki18229. This says it's super fine, but yarn, like, it's thicker than Lion Brand sock yarn and thicker than Red Heart's Heart and Soul. It's like a thicker type yarn, the way they spun it up. And I'm really liking knitting with it. Alright. My next project is and if you'd like, I am writing down my sock recipe I'm using for these socks as I go. I am going my 2 at a time challenge. And another thing I'm challenging myself to is the heel I'm going to do is a German short row hourglass heel. I know, I'm really challenging myself. Alright, the pattern I am doing next, excuse me, it's a shawl or a kerchief. And this pattern is popular. It's been out for ages. It's called Age of Brass and Steam Kerchief by Orange Flower Yarn. I'm sure you guys have seen this before, but that's what it looks like. I actually have had to upgrade it from the bag that it was in to my I Love Cupcakes bag. The yarn I'm using is Mrs. Crosby Loves to Play in the Orchid Monkey colorway. This yarn was yarn from when I had a yarn box subscription. I didn't like the pattern, so I kept the yarn in my stash. Oh, you guys are seeing this so beautiful up here. But this is what it looks like so far. This is the Age of Brass and Steam. I am on my second skein. I had 2 skeins of this from my yarn box subscription, which makes it 240 yards. Technically, I am at the end of what should be my pattern repeat for this pattern. I'm not giving anything away by saying it, but I am at it. But so what's going to happen, since I am at the number of repeats for it, is I'm just going to repeat it again because I want to use most of the yarn up on this, but leave enough to add for a barn raising quilt square. But this is what it looks like. Oh, you guys are seeing this so lovely up here. Oh. Do not adjust your sets. This is how it's supposed to look. You guys see? Guys get the yarn, the quality picture better up here. Oh. Isn't this gorgeous? It'll probably be about my wingspan once it's blocked and stretched out. It's all scrunched up on my cables. I'm sorry about that, but yeah. And here's what it looks like. Oh, you guys are seeing such the beautifulness of the color. But that's what it looks like. I am using, if you're wondering, the needles. They're my Hiya Sharps interchangeables. And they are let's see here. They are, I'm getting a glare here. They are 4 mils, or US 6. Because I have increased 300 stitches on here, it takes me longer to work on this. You guys probably, I think you've seen it when I was here at this little brass, or I don't know if that would be steam or what that would be, but I'm here. And then I did all that. And then another part of this. And then I'm just going to do another stockinette portion of it till I get to enough yarn to where I can bind off. Being that it takes me longer now to work on it because there's 300 stitches, which is okay by me. So as I said, it just takes me a little longer, which is fine. Did I put my pattern back? Yes, I did. All right. My last thing I have worked on, and I will be talking about this bag in my enhancement section later. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know what this is. Alright, I am working on my Magic Cake Log Cabin blanket, which has been on the needles for ages now. Which inspired me to do my blanket along. It's just if you're wondering what this isn't wound into a cake. I had to do it into a ball, but it wasn't a cake at one time. But in case you're wondering, I got the idea from my leftovers. I seen the barn raisin quilt blanket, and Lion Brand has a pattern out for their homespun yarn, I think it's called, and it was a log cabin blanket. And my blanket is loosely, and I mean loosely, based off that pattern. And I had scraps of yarn left over from other projects, and I'm like, what am I going to do with all these scraps? They're just set, because I just set them aside. I'm like, I'll use them for whatever, or I'm like, I just set little scraps aside, I'll set scraps aside. And when I seen that, I'm like, I can do that with a blanket. Like, I looked at the pattern, like, I based it off that just to get started. But yeah, this is how much I have from one of my cakes. Alright. As I said, it's loosely based off Lion Brand's pattern. I'm trying to make sure I get it the right way. No, it goes this way. Here's what it looks like so far. It's about lapgan size. But as you can see, it's just a lot, just old scraps that I had that I just put into the logs. Like, this is a log section right here. And then you turn it, where my dicky-doo is. This is where I left off when you guys see it again. But yeah, this is this would be a log. This was a log. This was a log where it started off. This was a log. This was the center where I started. And then I added this and this. But yeah, it's going to just be a big Magic Cake blanket. Magic Cake Log Cabin blanket. It's very colorful. I have had people that have seen pictures of it say that how hideous it looks because it's a mismatch of colors. I've had people ask me what I'm on, that it looks funky and psychedelic. I've had others say they love it. And you know what? I really love it, and they can comment whatever they want. A lot of the yarns for this were from projects that I have done and worked on, or just scrap yarn from over the years, from yarn that people gave me, and it was just like little bits of leftover yarn like they gave me to add into projects. And it's really special. Like Timmy the Turtle's in here somewhere. If you follow Pen, Hook, and Needles, Talia's pattern, Timmy Turtle, Timmy's in here somewhere. I think right here is where Timmy is. Yeah, just different patterns and memories of projects that I have worked. Yeah. Or as I said, scrap yarn that people gave me that they didn't want, they gave it to me just to add into my blanket, which I thought was very nice of them. So yeah, I've been working on that a little bit. As the weather gets warmer though, I won't be working on it till it gets cooler. Maybe in the evenings, but I live in a house that was built in 1890. So even during the summer, in the evenings, it's considerably warm. The only air conditioning you have is window air conditioning or fans. So yeah. All right. That is bringing us into stash enhancements. And one of the stash enhancements, as I said, has to do with this bag, if you're wondering. And this is my very own bag, my very first zipper sewn project bag. I've made other project bags myself, like my I Love America bags, but this is my first project bag with a zipper. This is the inside of it. As you can see, the inside looks just like the outside, which I designed that way. It's not perfect. There's flaws in it, but I love it. As I said, it was the first time I ever sewn a zipper into a bag. So, of course, there's going to be some big mistakes. Like, as you can see here, and here, and, you know, which I'm fine with. You know, it was my first bag with a zipper in it, which made it special to me. It is 18 inches. The zipper did come out pretty good, if I do say so myself. I bought an 18-inch zipper because I wanted to make a big bag. There's the bottom. Like I said, I'm proud of myself. I'm not going to give this bag away, obviously, because I made it, and as I said, there's flaws in it, but I plan on making another 18-inch bag like this and 2 12-inch zipper bags. But yeah. Isn't that just gorgeous? I love the pattern. I love the color. It's just some fabric I got on sale at Walmart. I have some left, enough to make a 12-inch bag like this. But yeah. And what makes it extra special is the fact that it was sewn on my grandma's factory machine she bought from when she worked. She used to work in a factory making clothes, and when it closed down, she bought one of the Singer's sewing factory machines. And it was actually interesting to sew on one of those versus a sewing machine that you would buy at Walmart or Joann's. You gotta be careful. Those suckers go fast. It's like, she was showing me how to sew something on there. And keep in mind, my grandma's 92, completely with it. She's there, and all of a sudden, just like, she's through the other side. I'm like, I just heard that machine go, I'm like, whoa, Grandma. She just like had this piece of garment sewn in no time. I was like, then she turned it, and she was on the other side, turned it again. I'm like, whoa. She's like, what? She's like, you had to learn to be quick in a factory. I'm like, well, slow down. All right, my next thing, I got my next enhancement, and I hope they didn't fall out, is you guys saw my square knitting needles. I also bought, and I think I'm crazy for doing this, DPNs, some Carbons DPNs in US 00 1.75. And the reason I say I think I'm crazy is because I always lose DPNs, or as I'm knitting, they fall out of the project and onto the ground. So we'll see. I have made socks before in DPNs, and I'm challenging myself to make a pair of socks in DPNs again. The other thing was, you guys saw my sock blockers. I know some of you are like, Nicole, they don't match. I know they don't. One, I didn't want them to match, and two, they didn't have two yellows or two blues. So, I just thought it was fun. I'm like, hey, they don't match. No matching socks. I'm not one for when I knit socks for them to be matchy-matchy. I'm not. I'm like, it's fun. And plus, they're socks. They're on your feet. Who's going to see what's on your feet? The next thing I bought was some yarn. And I bet you I dropped the other skein of it somewhere. Well, anyhow. They're both alike. They're both the same color. This is Premier Yarns Wool Free Sock. 235 yards, 93 acrylic, 93% acrylic, and 7% PBT. Free pattern included. This is in color. It doesn't say the colorway. I don't know. I just like the colorway. I think I dropped the other sock. I don't know. I had to have dropped it somewhere. I don't know what I did with it. But anyways, this is what it looks like. Very colorful, as you guys can see. And that's probably what it looks like knit up. But yeah, I'm excited to start this. And this is, again, this yarn feels like a different size than my Patton's Croy and Lion Brand and Red Heart. So yeah, it's going to set me crazy till I find it. So hang on. Alright, I did find it. That's what both of them look like together. So yeah, I'm excited. And if you're wondering, I got this at Hobby Lobby, and they were both $4.99. Alright, I was asked on Instagram by a fellow follower and a friend, who's also a friend on Rav, about my sock yarn. What weight I use, what sock yarn I like or prefer the best. Well, honestly, I know there's people that have bought, is it called Socks That Rock, or sock yarn by Indie Dyers, which I have bought. I love Mustache Yarn by the lovely Stacy from the Mustache Podcast. I love her sock yarn. I have knit a pair of Halloween socks on from her Halloween base one year, which I absolutely loved it. And I don't know what, it was obviously probably, I believe, a fingering weight. I have used. And one of my favorites, and I don't think they make it anymore by Knit Picks. It's called Felici. I think they brought it back, but I think it's called Felici Worsted, is it? Can correct me if I'm wrong, but I bought Felici sock yarn, which I love. I still have Halloween colored and a pair of Halloween socks in. I think this is going to be the year of socks for me. I don't know. Anyhow. It knits up, and the feel of it is different than an indie dyed yarn. I use Red Heart, Heart and Soul. I don't have it with me, but it is similar. Red Heart, Heart and Soul is similar to, like, yarn thinness or thickness, I guess you call it, of Lion Brand yarn. As you can see. You guys can see that. Yeah. It's similar. And you can see it looks thinner compared to, like, these look thin. This looks thinner than this. And Patton's Croy looks thicker than Premier and thicker than Lion Brand, but this may be classified as one, a super fine because it's a sock yarn, but to me it's more of a DK Sport, but yet not like the feel wise because it feels thicker. Can like sock yarn be thicker and thinner? I'm not 100% certain on that, but to me it does. The feel and texture wise of it does. The original socks that you saw on Instagram by Premier Yarns, no, Debbie Bliss, I'm sorry, it's Debbie Bliss. I didn't go with that to make my sock challenge because I felt it was too thin of a sock yarn for me to try for my very first time knitting 2 socks at a time on 2 circs. I went back and forth as to what to use. Did I want to use some more Lion Brand yarn, or did I want to use a different one? I decided to go I was like, no, I don't want to waste my nice Patton's Croy sock yarn. I was like, no, I'm like, you know what, Nicole, I'm like, you have a lot of different sock yarns. Try it, see which one you like. I like working with this. It's, as I said, a lot thinner than Patton's Croy. I don't have a favorite sock yarn at the moment. I am partial to Lion Brand. I like the way it was working up. I love Red Heart, Heart and Soul because it has aloe in it. It makes your hands feel nice when you work with it. But I don't really have a favorite at the moment. I don't have a favorite. I would be willing to try different sock weights to try. My very first pair of socks were Wild Red's vanilla socks, and they were used by company Nicole. You went on the yarn tour. Kramer Yarns in their tweed yarn. It was a worsted weight yarn. And I made a pair of heavy socks to wear like at home or for bed if it was cold. And I really like that yarn, but I didn't like working with the thickness of it. I mostly made a pair of socks out of those because I didn't know anything about sock yarn when I first started knitting. And I'm like, oh, you can make socks out of any kind of yarn. I didn't know you needed sock yarn until I was knitting more. I was actually using sock yarn to make doily type things for at home when I was crocheting. When I crochet. Works for that too, but I like it for socks. I used opal. I used a skein of opal to make a pair of socks. My sweet vanilla socks are my raft page. I really like working with opal. It's a really great yarn. It is spun wise, it's perfect. And I love how it just stripes on its own and makes these crazy designs on its own. I have 2 skeins of Regia sock yarn that I have squirreled away that I'm going to try. I'm sorry, I gotta take this. That was a robocall from our bird just saying about hydrant flushing. And the sun's out. It's been cloudy all day and the sun's out now, as you guys can see. It's probably washing me out. Yeah, I don't have a favorite sock yarn. I like to try all yarns to see which I like the best. I definitely like buying, like they say, a ball makes a skein. I definitely like buying that. Although, you'll see me, even though it says 1 ball makes a skein, I'll buy 2. Because odds are, I like that color. And I want another pair of socks in that colorway. So yeah, that is that for my sock yarn. I do, as you can tell, like to buy sock yarn and squirrel it away and try it out to see how I like it. And what I have left, I am going to make a sock yarn blanket, and that blanket just consists of nothing but my sock yarn. I would love to have enough sock yarn set aside that I have enough to make one crocheted sock yarn blanket and one knit sock yarn blanket. And if you're wondering about my crochet projects, I do not have a desire to crochet a sweater. Even though they're beautiful, I like to knit a sweater. I do like to crochet all kinds of different projects. Like I love to crochet face cloths as well as knit, crochet toys. I kind of got away when my carpal tunnel was bad from crocheting toys. I got to the point where I hated to crochet toys when my carpal tunnel was bad. I just hated it. I couldn't test patterns. I just hated making toys. Which was strange because crochet is one of the easiest things to do. And I got away from doing anything crochet. I even got to the point where I got away doing anything knit because of it. And now I just want to cast everything on. If you're wondering what resources I use for crochet, because sometimes it's a while before I crocheted, I may forget how to do a stitch, I go to thecrochetcrowd.com hosted by the lovely Mikey. He is fabulous. He has lots of helpful information. I actually crocheted along with him a pair of high top baby booties, blankets, you name it. A lovely crowd, lovely community, knit-wise. I taught myself how to knit by YouTube videos and by books. And it was just trial and error. As far as if you're wondering, like, tension-wise, like, would I control tension? I'm sorry if you guys hear horns honking. I live on a busy street, and right across the street from me, over here, is a convenience store. And then sometimes you will hear church bells because down the street here is the Catholic school and Catholic church. And then across the street on the main highway is the Lutheran church. So mostly you'll hear the church bells coming from St. Joseph's Catholic Church. And horn honking is people driving by the street or stopping at the mini mart. Would you guys like to see a video sometime of where I live, the street I live on, so you guys can see what I'm talking about? I mean, let me know. I guess this really brings into what I'm doing lately. Health-wise, to those of you who emailed me and messaged me, thank you so much. I went back to the OBGYN and got the results of my ultrasound. Everything, she said, in my insides look good. They did find a fibroid or a tumor, and or they call it a fibroid tumor or something like that, I believe it's called. But she just referred to it as a tumor. It's non-cancerous. She said it's nothing to even worry about. No treatment options are necessary. It's the size of a pea. Nothing that should be causing me any pain or concern or discomfort. So I thank God for that. And everybody that has prayed for me and wished me well, thank you so very much. I have one more test to go for yet. And that is because they found I went for a mammogram. And they said it was inconclusive and there was changes from the one I had in 2005 to now. Well, I was 25 then. I'm 36 now, so of course. And I had a dramatic weight loss change since 2005. But to be safe, I have to set up an MRI and go for that just to make sure that there's no breast cancer. So I'm not fully out of the woods yet. I am still praying that everything comes back fine. And I'm confident it will. Weight loss is going good. I'm kind of stuck right now, but that's because I've just been exhausted, to be honest with you. Exhausted, tired, just constantly. And that has to do with my blood sugar, which those of you know I've been having a lot of trouble with my blood sugar lately. Even though I am diet and exercise, it was because the doctor did a blood test to see if my pancreas was making insulin, and yes, my body's making insulin. It's not going, obviously, to where it's supposed to go. My body's like, hey, what do we do with this insulin? And on top of it, my old primary care doctor had me taking they had me taking Januvia plus insulin. And my new primary care doctor goes, you're type 2 diabetic, you don't need insulin. You already make it, and by injecting yourself at night, which is when I would take my insulin, he goes, you're giving your body extra insulin. He goes, you're like giving yourself extra of what you already have. He goes, your body doesn't know what to do with it already, and you're adding extra to it, and it's like, hey, wait, where did that guy come from? You just gave me something extra. Bad enough, I don't know where to put everything now. Now you're giving me extra, and I really don't know what to do with it. So he changed me. He took me off that, and he's keeping me on Januvia, and he also put me on non-insulin Victoza, which I've been on. This will be the second week I'm on it. I have dramatically noticed a difference, because my blood sugar would be maybe in the morning 120 or in the 200s. Then it would go up to 300, back down to 100 and something, up to 200. It was constantly then up, then and then normal. Now, with taking just the Victoza and the Januvia, it's like high, and then and then no. It's starting to even itself out, where I'm back to having my normal numbers again. And I am able to feel the difference in my blood sugar versus if it's at a consistent number and it jumps high, I can feel it. My vision gets all blurry. I'm like, ugh, like La La Land. And then I feel when it drops to low, because it gets down to the lower numbers, because I get tired more. But because it's bouncing all over the place, I've just been, like, fatigued. And now that it's evening out, I'm starting to get more even numbers. And I'm starting to get back to doing everything I like again. Which you are going to see some changes in the podcast. Some positive changes. As you can see, I put some outtakes in there. I'm starting to put outtakes. I'm actually going to put in there favorite places that I like to go, or maybe places I went for the very first time to visit. Kind of similar to the Bakery Bear's favorite places to knit. It's kind of just places I like to go. I know next weekend is Maryland Sheep and Wool. I don't know if I'm going to that or not yet. I might. If you are going to Maryland Sheep and Wool and you're interested in possibly meeting up with me, please message me either on Rav or email me, or if you're friends with me on Facebook, message me. If you have my, message me and see if I'm going for sure. I am not 100% certain if I'm going this year or not. So yeah. And mostly that's because I may have to have some work done to Siggy, my car. Which, Siggy kind of comes first because I rely on him to drive everywhere where I need to go. And Siggy is more important than going to Maryland Sheep and Wool. But if he doesn't, he's up for inspection. I have to have Siggy inspect it tomorrow. And he may need some work. And that is more important than going to Maryland Sheep and Wool, even though I would love to go. But Siggy wins. He's more important. So please message me. If you want to meet up with me, message me and see if I'm going or not. And I will let you know tomorrow for sure if I'm able to go or not. If not, if you live, within the, if you live near me or a couple states away or something and you would like to meet up with me, maybe we could arrange a meetup somewhere during the summer, or do a Skypey FaceTime type thing or something. Let me know. I have yammered enough, and I am going to let you guys go so that I can upload this onto my laptop, edit it, and put it out. So I will let you guys go, and I will see you sometime next week. I am trying to get on, before I go, I'm trying to get on back onto a set day again. Until I can work that out. It's kind of going to be like anytime next week. So just bear with me till I get everything set up. I'm definitely going to start recording back upstairs here because we have better lighting. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I will talk to you next week.